All right. Hey, too, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, we're going over the Grandmaster Nightfall meta report, very similar to the Trials report, except this one is focused on GMs and the meta for GMs. We have the Glassway, the Lightblade, Fallen Saber, Disgraced, Exodus Crash, and the Devil's Lair last. The meta weapons, the top three weapons for the Glassway were the Arbalist, no surprises there, probably the best weapon for barriers. Then we have the Witherhoard, which has insanely good damage output, so I'm not surprised to see a little bit of balance there. And then we have the Hung Jury, which is an excellent option, especially for range, and a good option for anti-champions this season. Now let's move on to the, probably be the Energy for Glassway. So the top three, we're going to have the Le Monarch is the number one used weapon. It also has Bug doing bug damage, so keep that in mind. Le Monarch doing insanely good damage this season. Then we have the Divinity, which is so good for Overload still. And obviously, even with the nerf coming soon, where they're going to nerf it from 30% debuff to 15, I can still see it being used a ton. And then the last one here, we have the Strident Whistle Bow being used in the third. For the top three energies, now we've got Glassway, top three heavy weapons. The number one goes to the Linear Fusion, the Taipan. That god roll is insane. No surprise there, especially because of Void Burn. Number two goes to the G-Horn. The G-Horn is always a good option, especially if you don't have the crafted Taipan. And then third goes to the Linear Fusion from the dungeon. It's Arc. It's a little surprised to see that because it's Void Burn, but definitely a solid option for a power weapon. Now we go on to the Light Blade, which I'm trying to solo at the time this video is going live. We've got the Arbalist number one, because we've got barriers still. Then we've got the Wish Ender there, which is actually a little bit surprising, but I did use it, and it's so strong. It's like, it does more damage than like a high-impact sniper. And then we have the Witherhoard, so no surprise there. 3 exotics in the kinetic for that one. Now let's see what we have for the Energy and Light Blade for the top three most used weapons. All right, looks like first up we have the Pulse Rifle. What is this called? Perseverance, I believe. And then we have the Tarnished Metal, and then we have the BXR Battler, if I'm getting that right. That Pulse Rifle is called Insidious, rather. So we have Pulse, Scout, and Pulse for Light Blade for the top three Energy. And let's go on to the power weapons for this now. For Light Blade, top three heavy, we have the Hothead Rocket. No surprises there. Everyone recommends to use that. And then we have, on top of that, we have the Storm Chaser as well, and then the G-Horn, all three heavy hitters. Arc Burn makes a lot of sense why we'd have those weapons. G-Horn, not actually an arc weapon, but the Wolfpack rounds, fun fact, the Wolfpack rounds are actually arc. The rocket itself is solar, and the Wolfpack rounds are arc. So with the way the Wolfpack rounds work inside Destiny 2, it's a really good option. Saber, we have Arbalist as number one. Then we have the Hung Jury, and then we have the Succession, which if you don't have that god roll, that thing is so nice. It's probably my favorite choice of kinetic weapon to use when I'm not using the Arbalist or Witherhoard. I love using my Succession. That god roll is so nice. So get out there and farm some Deep Stone Crypt if you haven't already gotten that bad boy. It's always a good option in endgame PvE. Then next up, we have the Le Monarch in the Energy for Saber, and then we have the Divinity. And then the last one, we have Under Your Skin, the bow. So we got a bunch of bows. For the Saber Strike, no surprises there. We've got the anti-overload options there with Divinity, especially good. And like I said before, even after the nerf to Divinity from 13 to 15% debuff, it's still going to be a really strong option. For the power weapons for Saber, we have Storm Chaser, Hothead, and then we have, it looks like the Taipan is there, which is a bit of a surprise. We have Arc Burn, right? And so I highly recommend to use an arc weapon because you get that 25% damage buff. So Storm Chaser makes sense. Hothead makes sense. Taipan, I understand a lot of people using Taipan simply because they have a god roll crafted of it, but it's probably not the best option, in my opinion. Then we have the Disgraced Grandmaster. We've got Arbalist, number one. No surprise there. Arbalist is just the exotic to use when there's barrier champions, clearly. Then we have the Wish Ender, number two. Still an excellent option. And then we have number three for the Witherhoard. No surprises there. We've seen these exotics used over and over again. So now you kind of get a good feel for what the meta is, regardless of the Grandmaster. And all of these are Arc Burn as well. So you'll see that we have the Perseverance Pulse Rifle there. Then we have the BXR Battler, and then we have the Tarnished Metal. So a lot of the similarities from before. The BXR Battler, a little bit surprising to me there because it is Arc Burn, but the other two not so much because they're both Arc. Now we'll move on to the last one. Probably people using the BXR Battler because there might be solar shields or whatever it may be. Then we've got, last up, we have Storm Chaser for the power weapon Disgrace, the Hothead, and then looks like the Taipan once more. A lot of people choosing the Taipan. I get why. They just have a god roll for it, and so they want to use it as much as possible because they probably don't have a god roll Storm Chaser, and they probably don't have a Tarantula as well, which is another Arc Linear Fusion that you could use in its place. And the god roll Hothead, not everyone has that either. Exodus, top 3 kinetic, very similar to the other 3 we have seen before. We've got the Arbalest number 1, Witherhoard number 2. Number 3 goes to the Hung Jury Adept. Myself, personally, I would choose the Night Watch over the Hung Jury Adept. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I think it's a little bit better. I like the 200 RPM over the 180 RPM that the Hung Jury is. And it has pretty much the exact same role and same usage, but a lot more people have the Hung Jury. And then for energy, we have Le Monarch, Divinity, and then the Stride and Whistle again. So very similar as we've seen before. The bows are very, very well utilized in Grandmaster, especially when you can play the range as much as possible. And the div is always good for stunning those overloads instantaneously. Now next up, we're going to go over the top 3 power weapons for Exodus Crash. And those are going to be Storm Chaser, Hothead, and Taipan. So a lot of similarities. The reason why you're seeing so many similarities from one Grandmaster to another is because Arc Burn, it was Void Burn on the first one, which was Glassway, and then all the other 5 are all Arc Burn. So you're going to see a lot more Arc weapons. I think Bungie chose to do that because it is the Arc 3.0 season, so they're trying to get as much Arc usage out there, basically by making them all Arc Burn Grandmasters. Everyone's going to use Arc subclasses, right? And so it's going to really highlight and showcase the Arc 3.0 revamp. For the Devil's Lair, we have the top 3 weapons as Arbalest, the Succession, and the Hung Jury. No surprises there. 3 solid weapons. For my Hung Jury, I do have Rapid Hit, Explosive Payload. I believe that's the role I'm using. And so let me know what roles you got out there. Explosive Payload still so good, especially in this challenging content. For the energy weapons, we have Le Monarch, and then we have Under Your Skin. And then the last one there is that, let me see what we have as for that last one there. For Devil's Lair, that bow is the Trinity Ghoul. I thought it was. I was like, really? People are rocking the Trinity Ghoul? That was a little bit of a plot twist there. Trinity Ghoul makes it into the top 3 for Devil's Lair. So I'll have to try that out when that comes out, see if that's any good. And then for power weapons, we have the Storm Chaser, the Taipan, and the Hothead. Same 3 we've seen in rotation a bunch, over and over and over again. And those are some solid weapons. And I believe that is the last Grandmaster meta report for this season. Let me know what weapons you will be using when you jump into the Grandmasters if you haven't gotten your Conqueror's Seal. After you do it the first time, it's made available. All of the Grandmasters are made available on day 1, so keep that in mind. If it wasn't made available to you this season, it will be next season after you get it done. That's a wrap on this video, though. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Later.